The first woman president of the United States is up for re election, while her husband is on trial for murder. So, is the first gentleman a killer? A pair of investigative journalists set out to answer that question. This latest political thriller slash murder mystery was published barely a month ago on the 2nd of June 2025. What makes it more interesting is that it has been co authored by someone who knows the White House like the back of his hand because he has lived there for 8 years, and two, by someone who has written over 200 best selling thrillers so far. The First Gentleman is the third novel co authored by former US President Bill Clinton and thriller writer James Patterson. Does the novel live up to the hype? To find out, switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asaveri, and on this channel, The Reading Lamp, I review books and talk about reading in general. Let's take a look at the details of today's book.
Facts and Figures.
The First Gentleman is a fiction thriller co-authored by former US President Bill Clinton and thriller writer James Patterson. It was published on the 2nd of June 2025 by Century Publishers. 400 pages long, available in paperback, hardcover, Kindle, and audiobook editions. The link to buy the book is in the first pinned comment and in the description below the video. Now, no spoilers, no worries, just
The cover story.
Cole Wright is sitting in the rear seat of a black armored Chevy Suburban, one of three in a convoy speeding its way down to a courthouse in New Hampshire. There is no presidential limousine, no Secret Service counter assault team, no news media vans, and no ambulance. Even though sitting right beside him is Cole Wright's wife, Madeleine Parson Wright, the first woman president of the United States. The reason for this scaled down motorcade is that the ex NFL star player turned first spouse, Cole Wright, is about to stand trial for the 17-year-old murder of his ex girlfriend, cheerleader Suzanne Bonanno. Outside the courthouse, there is a humongous crowd made up of three kinds of people. Those that are there in support of Cole Wright, holding up placards of "We believe in you, Cole," and "Stay strong, Cole." And then there are those who are chanting "Justice for Suzanne," "Monster," and "Convict Cole Wright." And then there are those who are there just for the cheap thrills. What happens in the trial? Is Cole Wright guilty of murder or not? Those are the questions that I will not answer. But should you read this latest thriller from Bill Clinton and James Patterson or not? That is the question that I will answer in the next segment.
Speaking my mind.
What do you think makes for a good thriller? If you ask me, a good thriller thrives on suspense, unexpected twists and turns, tight writing, flawed but likable protagonists, and a sense of escalating tension and danger. For me, having to fight the urge to go to the end and find out who done it is a good indicator of the effectiveness of a thriller. The First Gentleman does pretty well on all of those parameters. The suspense is well maintained from start to finish. The writing is tight and there's no unnecessary faffing about. There are a number of major characters rather than just one or two clear protagonists. There's Madeleine, the president, Burton Pierce, her chief of staff, Cole Wright, the first gentleman, Garrett and Bree, the two investigative journalists who act as catalysts in the whole case, a few mandatory mafia type characters, and so on. There are a number of red herrings which take you in different directions at different times and keep you guessing about who's right and who's wrong and who's guilty and who's not. Of course, any seasoned reader of thrillers is likely to come up with the correct answer. In that way, I'd say the end is a little bit predictable. I guessed it right, and probably most of you will too. But that does not take away from the enjoyment of the novel. It's a fast paced thriller that kept me hooked till I finally put it down. Of course, the glamour of the authors is a big part of the attraction. A political thriller written by a former US president. Whether it's the protocols, the geopolitics, the insider information, everything has that unmistakable ring of authenticity. What makes any fiction novel believable is how close to reality it appears to be. And it cannot get any closer than this. As for James Patterson, he is a master of the thriller genre. So I would say the combination of insider info and expert storytelling makes this novel a must read for fans of political thrillers and murder mysteries. There's usually nothing to underline or quote in an out and out fiction thriller. But I came across something in this book that I absolutely adored. It perfectly captures what I've always believed about the art of writing.
Quote unquote.
This is something that one of the journalists, Garrett, tells Bree, his partner, and the other journalist in the story. He says, "Don't write to show off, write to make the reader understand." I love this. It's sound advice that a lot of people don't realize the importance of. Every so often, you read a post or an article, and the first thing that comes to mind is show off. What stands out is not the content, but the language, and that too because it is pretentious and more about showcasing the writer's command over the language rather than the subject. I have a feeling that it's part of the colonial hangover or hang up that most of us Indians suffer from. As if using heavy, impressive sounding words will make us look more intelligent. Whereas the opposite is true. It's said that the best way to write about any topic is to pretend that you're explaining it to a sixth grader. If any of you have writing aspirations or need to write as part of your job profile or profession or as a hobby, remember this quote. Don't write to show off, write to make the reader understand. Simple but effective. Now let's see how this book fares on our LINEDSCAPE book rating system.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
Up there is a link to the video that explains my LINEDSCAPE book rating system. All the parameters are rated 8 today except for impact, which is rated 7 because this is an out and out entertainer of a novel. Overall, the score is 79 over 100, which makes it a 4-star book. Now it's time to put my thoughts.
In a nutshell.
The First Gentleman, co-authored by former US President Bill Clinton and James Patterson, is an entertaining political thriller. Their USP is the former president's insider knowledge combined with the proven writing skills of the best-selling author. The plot is fast-paced, full of suspense, and entertaining. It's their third novel together, but they are all standalones, so feel free to read it even if you haven't read the first two. I recommend reading this fiction novel that rates 4 stars on my LINEDSCAPE book rating system. If you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon and share with your friends and family. Do visit the Reading Lamp every Friday for a fresh new book review. This is Asavri signing off for now. Have fun under the Reading Lamp. Switch on, read on.